Good morning, everyone. So happy you're here. Welcome to my studio. I'm Virginia Killmore, and I'm going to be sharing cards with you today. I'm excited to share them with you on this beautiful, bright, sunny day in November in my hometown of Syracuse. This weekend, I had a wonderful time at a virtual convention. Yes, a virtual convention, a Stampin' Up! Convention. It was missing or minus all the card swapping I get to do and all the hooting and hollering when we get to see the new cards, but nonetheless, we were very excited, and today I'm going to give you a sneak peek of a stamp set that's going to be available come early January. I think around January 4th. I don't know the exact date, but the new catalogs are coming out shortly. I got to see them. That's one of the great parts about being in a Stampin' Up! Demo. You get to see everything ahead. So today's card is going to be a case of a card that you can't make right now because you don't have the stamp set, but we're going to use current stamps to make something similar. So that will be fun. And I also want to tell you about a new adventure I'm going to try, not this Tuesday, but a week from tomorrow. On November 17th, I'm going to start something called Coffee and Cards at 10:30 in the morning, live on Facebook. We're going to see how live goes. I've had a lot of trouble with it, and that's why I record everything. So stay tuned. I'll be telling you more details about it as we go. But let's get started with our card this morning. So isn't that beautiful, this card? I just love the stamp set. It's got dragonflies and little tiny images of little flying dragonflies. I'm going to zoom out so you can see a little better. And I just love the paper. This is also paper that's going to be available come January. So to do this card, we had certain specifications, and we actually did it via a Zoom call online. It was really fun, and that's why I'm excited about trying this Coffee and Cards come November 17th. So what I'll do is I'll tell you what the supplies are. You can follow along, but you're going to help me design the card that day. We're going to actually give you an option of different items that you can choose to help me make the card. Like, do you want a certain color or certain designer series paper? It'll be really fun. I can't wait. So what I decided to do, instead of using this stamp set that we don't have yet, I thought let's use something current. So that's why today's instructions reflect your choices. You get to choose what you want to use for your card. But this card is very doable in the construction phase if you just follow the sizes of everything I have, but with any stamp set. So I picked Daisy Lane and my stamp pad, Magenta Madness. I know my friend Janine loves daisies, so I thought she'd enjoy this card. And so I chose Whisper White cardstock for the backing, Magenta Madness for the backing of the whole card, and then this designer series paper, which is called Flowers for Every Season, that I know I've showed you before, but it always is fun to look at it again. And Flowers for Every Season means just that. There's spring colors, fall colors, Christmas colors, and winter type colors in this whole pile. It is just a lovely, lovely designer series paper. So I've already made this, but we'll make one again just so you can see the process. And I've pre-cut all these little pieces. So to start with, we need to stamp this background with some kind of a pattern. And I chose the small daisy. See how I have this pattern? I chose that small daisy to stamp all over. So I'm going to stamp that just going up my paper, and I am not going to ink off I'm just going to stamp and then continue stamping 3 or 4 times so that we get a pattern, but not a super dark one. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that last one. Okay, I'm kind of happy with that. So what I did ahead of time was to stamp the flower on a scrap piece of paper. And I'll do that again so you can see the process, because we're going to need my daisy punch for this. And I don't have that listed there, but that any punch that'll work. If you've never used our daisy lane stamp set, the trick with the punch is to always have this little section facing down. If you do it like this, it's harder to get your punch oriented. So always have one of the petals perpendicular to the edge of your paper. And in this case, it works either way. And I would go ahead and punch these out, because that's the beauty of our punches, is you can see what you're punching. One of the problems with the punch is that it does get stuck in some of those petals. But it's just a component of making something so pretty. You just have to go through that. So that one wasn't so problematic. So now I can just take and glue this together. And I've got my flower. And I always like to glue it so that the leaves are just opposite one another. The hardest part is making sure it's right in the center. So I'm ready now for my sentiment, and I'm going to stamp that before I put any of the papers on. I'm doing this without having tried it first. Oh, I got it straight. I can't believe it. So now I can start putting my papers on. So let's put our card together. I'm going to use some glue. You know how I love my green glue. I'm going to go ahead and put that right on Whisper White cardstock. Now, a lot of people ask me, why don't you do the card on colored cardstock? And that's you're perfectly capable. In fact, that's what they suggested here. But in a card like this, you have to put another piece of white cardstock in it. And with this, I don't. I'm all set. I am going to stamp part of the daisy on the inside. But I'm going to give it a second or two before I fold it back, because it will, the ink takes a few seconds to dry. And then I can go ahead and glue this down. I think that's dry enough. And I am going to close this, because you know how ink and I don't get along sometimes. So the first piece I'm going to glue down is this one, and I want this one to come right across here, but leave enough room so I can put this piece in. So I'm sort of using that as a guide to how far I put this up. Okay. And I'm going to use dimensionals on these. I love dimensionals because they pop up the whole card, and I am going to use the scrap pieces of my dimensionals because I like to use every little dimensional I can. So I am going to take my pokey tool, or my take your pick tool, depending on what you call it, and take off all the paper. And then I am going to put my card together. Now, notice I picked different patterns of the paper. I did that on purpose so that I could get some interesting variety in the card. But the part that makes it so special is Stampin' Up! Purposely coordinates. There's Bumblebee both in here, as well as the Magenta Madness picks up on what's here. Now I'm going to lay this right over this and glue that on. So I'm just going to put a little green glue here and here. And I can just place my flower there, but I always like to do a little something extra, which my girlfriend Jan taught me, is to just curl up my leaves. I'm just taking my bone folder and curling them a little bit and giving that a little extra zip. I think that merits a dimensional as well. So I'm going to take some of the scrap stuff that I have and put it on the back. And then just sort of lay that there. Now, I think the card could use a little bit of bling. What do you think? I always think cards can use bling. So I'm going to pull out my pearls, which I haven't used in a long time, and put a couple pearls in the center of my card. So I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to use the big ones because I think those will be the best. I like to do things in groups of 3 or 5, an uneven number. See how 3 look, and I think we might have to go to 5. Oh, this one's just running away from me. Or maybe 6. Let's see how we go. I don't know. I'm kind of liking just the 3. I could have also used the new one that we have that's in the Christmas catalog. That would have been just as pretty. Just, I don't have it handy. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I found it. Notice I left my mic here. I am going to try this because I think these would be just as pretty, and I wished I had thought of that before I put these all over, but it's just as easy to take them off. Design choice. Now these are a little different to put on. Oh, that looks so pretty. I like that much better. So you're going to have to use glue dots for this, and I'm going to actually put the glue dots right on the cardstock first, and I think I'm going to put 3 of them because that's a pretty heavy little decorative piece. Well, I guess that's the end of my glue dots there, but I have more. I always have more. Okay. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, I love that. I think that worked really nice. What do you think? Let me know. These are not listed, but remember, this card was more about your choice. So it's the same layout, the same design, but a different card altogether. I hope you enjoyed that today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Have a great afternoon, and thanks for watching.